Hello, my littles. Welcome back to Bedtime with Mama. Tonight we're going to continue our princess story collection by reading The Winter Journey. At autumn's end, the wind blew colder and the last leaves fell from the trees. The crops were harvested and the feasting was over. For Pocahontas and her village, the time had come to travel to their winter camp. Pocahontas loved her home by the river, but she always looked forward to this trip. The journey meant new adventures and new places to explore. Best of all, many different villages from the Powhatan nation gathered at the winter camp to work together during the cold months. As they walked, Pocahontas stepped off the trail and bent down to examine the cold ground. She saw fresh tracks from a possum, a family of deer, and even a bobcat. Some animals were still out and about in the winter. Moments later, snow began to fall. Pocahontas tipped her head back, enjoying the feeling of the snow on her face. "We're close," called Pocahontas' father, the chief of the Powhatan. Pocahontas' village was the first to arrive at the campsite. They hurried to unpack and set up their winter home. Some villagers made shelters by tying woven mats upon woven wooden frames. Others started fires for cooking and warmth. A group of hunters prepared to find food for that night's dinner. Pocahontas and some others set out to gather firewood. "Let's bring back as much dry wood as we can find," said Pocahontas. Pocahontas strayed further from the camp to search for wood. She loved the quiet of the winter forest and the soft sound of the wind. Wait, she thought, what was that noise? Pocahontas put down her firewood and listened carefully. There it was again. It sounded like crying. She climbed the nearest tree, but she couldn't see anything at first. Then she looked down and gasped. A little lost deer was wandering alone in the woods. He was too young to survive on his own and needed to get back to his mother quickly. Pocahontas climbed down from the tree. Her moccasins crunched softly in the snow. The fawn looked up and froze. Pocahontas held out her hand. "It's all right, little one," she said. "I'm here to help." Slowly, Pocahontas reached into her pouch and pulled out some berries. She held them flat on her palm so the breeze would carry their scent to the fawn. The little deer perked its ears up with interest, and Pocahontas gently tossed the berries to him. While the fawn happily ate his snacks, Pocahontas crept round until she could see his tracks in the snow. She had to take the fawn back the way he had come. She dropped a berry on his path. Following the tracks a little further, she dropped more berries, and the fawn went hurrying after her. Soon they came to an icy bank on the stream. Scanning the icy mud at the water's edge, Pocahontas saw two sets of tracks. One belonged to the fawn, and the other, she thought, must belong to his mother. The mother's tracks continued on the opposite side of the bank. Pocahontas ran slightly across a path of rocks in the stream. Then she put a berry down on the far bank. The fawn walked closer and reached out a hoof, then pulled back. He was afraid of the rushing water. Patiently, Pocahontas piled more and more berries on the bank. The fawn gazed at them hungrily. Finally, he charged right into the shallow stream. Splash! In a few bounds, he was across and sloshing onto the bank. Dripping icy water, he looked up at Pocahontas and shook himself happily. Pocahontas and the fawn followed his mother's trail to the edge of the clearing. Peering ahead, Pocahontas saw a doe pacing back and forth. "Is that?" she started to ask. But the fawn was already galloping across the clearing to his mother. The family was together again. Pocahontas watched and smiled peacefully. A branch snapped behind her. Pocahontas whirled around. "There you are!" Pocahontas' best friend, Nakoma, called to her. "You've been gone a while, so I came to look for you." Look, Pocahontas said, pointing. The little one was lost. Oh, how sweet, Nakoma said. But we should get back. It's almost dark. Pocahontas brightened. Has anyone else arrived? 3 more villages. Probably more by now, replied Nakoma. Pocahontas nodded. That's the beauty of winter. It brings us together. Back at the camp, people from many different Powhatan villages were gathered. Everyone seemed to be talking at once. There was so much to catch up on, so many stories to tell. Pocahontas snuggled under a blanket by the fire and listened. She was happy to be surrounded by the love and laughter of her family. Seasons changed and camps moved on, but no matter where she rested her head, the land and the families Pocahontas found there always felt like home. The end. What a sweet story was that. Pocahontas was so kind to help that little lost deer, and she was so patient in helping, and it paid off because they found the little guy's mama. How sweet, huh? Well, I hope you have the sweetest dreams, and I will see you back again tomorrow night. Sweet dreams, littles.